When you get a notification from your favorite online store, there's a flash sale going on and everything's $9.99 and under. While this might seem like it's the greatest deal in the world, it's actually extremely harmful to the environment. According to What is Fast Fashion and How Does It Impact the Environment, published by Nealis in 2018, fast fashion, or throwaway fashion, is when companies design products based on recent runway styles but make them much more affordable for their consumers. Style That's Sustainable, a new fast fashion formula, published in 2016 by Remy, Spielman, and Schwartz, found that clothing production doubled from 2000 to 2014. They also found that the number of garments purchased each year by the average consumer increased by 60%. Consumers treat low-priced garments as nearly disposable and throw them away just after 7 to 8 wears. This is extremely bad for the environment because of the disposal buildup. The concept of fast fashion is increasingly growing over popularity. Even though there are benefits to the fast fashion industry and to us, fast fashion needs to be fixed because the environmental and social impacts are extremely harmful and severe. The social impacts of fast fashion impact factory workers in this industry. Factory workers face unethical and severe working conditions. The fast fashion production originated in Europe, where experts in spinning and weaving made the products. However, because of a high consumer demand, production shifted from Europe to Asia. Sustainable supply chain management in the fast fashion industry, an analysis of corporate reports published by Turker and Altuntis in 2014, conducted research on these European industries. They found that many of them couldn't keep up with the fast pace of the fashion industry, so companies like Zara and H&M shifted to less developed countries in Asia. The shift in location has led to harmful and dangerous working conditions for many factory workers. Many of these workers are located in offshore countries and primarily consist of women and young children. Workers experience very low wages, an extreme amount of forced and unethical labor. They're put in serious harm during working production, they're vulnerable to discrimination, and face long working hours. With the demand for clothing continuously increasing, there's no end in sight for these workers. The increased demand for clothing is not only impacting factory workers, it's severely impacting our environment. The most common material used in fast fashion is polyester. It's cheap, versatile, and relatively easy to use, and there's many benefits for the fast fashion industry. However, it's a petroleum-based fiber made from a carbon-intensive and non-renewable source, so it's extremely bad for the environment. Just the production alone uses 70 million barrels of oil, and it takes polyester more than 200 years to fully decompose. Fast fashion products are inexpensive because of the cheap materials they are made from. Garments are usually worn less than 5 times and kept for less than 35 days. The production of these products uses a large amount of water, dangerous chemicals, and emits a high amount of greenhouse gases. Putting the Brakes on Fast Fashion, published in 2018 by the UN Environment Program, found that the fast fashion industry produces 20% of global wastewater, 10% of all global carbon emissions, and they are the second largest industrial polluter behind the oil industry. If there's no change by 2050, the fashion industry will use up a quarter of the world's carbon budget. There's also a high amount of pressure put on the fashion industry to put out the right products at the right time. Because of this, many shipments are delivered by air, which drastically increases the CO2 emissions from the fashion industry. Even though the fashion industry creates a severe amount of environmental problems, there are ways that we can fix the problems that were started. Consumers need to be the first to make changes because many companies are not waiting for consumer backlash. Don't wait for your favorite company to start being more sustainable or environmentally friendly. You can try to find other brands or even start to purchase more sustainable materials. The only problem with these sustainable materials is that they're often much more expensive than the cheap clothes we're used to buying. In order for more people to start buying sustainably, more companies need to start using these sustainable materials for it to be normalized. Another thing you can do is try to buy fewer items so that when you dispose of your clothes later, you reduce your impact. Fast Fashion, Responses to Changes in the Fashion Industry, published in the International Review of Retail in 2010, found that younger people prefer to have a high amount of low-quality clothing so that when the next trend comes along, they can easily dispose of their old clothes. Many producers also need to start finding more sustainable methods of production. They can use waterless dyeing, using waste as a raw material, or even try to develop solutions to the textile waste problem that we face. Many companies across the country are attempting to become more sustainable. These companies include Patagonia, H&M, and Levi's, who have taken pledges to be more sustainable in the future. We also need to find more sustainable methods of disposing our old clothes. Our current technologies can turn old clothes into new fibers that could be reused for new clothes. Shredding and chemical digestion also works very poorly because so many clothes are disposed by people around the world. Many of our disposed clothes end up in landfills or are burned within a year of being purchased, and that builds up drastically. The environmental problems are continuing to worsen, but if consumers take the right steps, we can start to make change. Fast fashion is extremely harmful to the environment because it produces a large amount of waste, emits greenhouse gases, and uses hazardous chemicals in the process. We need to be the first to step up and make changes in our shopping tendencies. Even just buying less is a good way to start. If we don't start making these small changes in our tendencies, our environment and people around the world could face severe impacts in the coming years.